Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Horribly Off Topic. I'm Peter Sagal.
Hi, Peter.
Oh, I'm just...
Who's on the panel this week?
Well, we got Paula Poundstone, Mo Rocca, and Maz Jobrani.
I'm hard-pressed to think of how many episodes of Wait, Don't Tell Me I heard that didn't have Paula Poundstone.
Paula Poundstone was on a lot of them. Do you listen?
I don't, but I'm a big fan of Paula Poundstone.
Really?
Just because of her name.
Yeah.
Well, it starts that way, and then her comedy.
Oh, okay. So I just did a little trickery. This is, in fact, the Horribly Off Topic podcast.
That is not Peter Sagal.
I'm not Peter Sagal. I'm, in fact, Steve. I have Chris with me, as always.
Yes.
But we have a special guest. I don't know if you want to give your whole name or if you want to just remain Matt.
I was actually going to go with M, but if we want to,
Oh,
give
sorry.
full names, thanks.
No.
Yeah, no, Matt works.
Matthew.
That's fine.
It's Matthew.
Oh, boy.
Matt to Hugh.
It wasn't I saying just beforehand I don't want to have to do a ton of edit because we're recording on Monday. But if you wanted to just be M, I could get the old bleep out. And
Don't.
we could just bleep each
No.
instance of no.
No, we're not doing another Brian episode. And I'm glad we can actually say his name.
We can. Although, eventually it'll be funny. Just once we'll start bleeping his name again. No.
No, because that'll be a bunch of work and you're going to be like...
It will be a bunch of work. And I am nothing if not good at giving myself work when I don't need.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is just going to have the recording session and we're going to just talk. And then you're going to just go, oh, that's good.
Oh, that's good. No show notes.
No show notes this week?
Well, no, I'll probably put together show notes. I can't.
Well, we're off having supper somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer not to use my full name, but if you want to put my facial profile out there in the show notes, that would be acceptable.
Just
the profile.
Like a profile, like one of those old-fashioned silhouette profiles.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Some old-timey Victorian profiles.
Okay,
How grand.
That works.
Not racial profile.
I like
Exactly,
I like your sweater. It's very Fred Rogers.
Thank you. Well, hello, neighbor. Yeah, I appreciate that. My wife is definitely not a fan, so I tend to wear it when I'm not out with her.
I was gonna say, are wives ever a fan of our fashion choices? That's a good question. My wife certainly doesn't think I dress well or photograph well.
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with her.
I mean, I don't, but.
Well, you always look so thrilled when you're in a photograph, anyways.
I try.
The question is, have you tried to do a side profile Victorian picture?
I don't know that I have. That's a really good question.
I bet it would be fantastic.
My aunt and uncle, I think, have them of my cousins when they were babies.
There's like an Anderson Walkman's Buttholes and How kind of album cover. I just totally screwed that up, and I think that was a Dead Milkmen song.
How dare you screw up a Dead Milkmen song?
No. I screwed up the actual name of the album where they had all the profiles of the people, and I forget what
what it's called. And now you really created work for me because now I have to go through. This is what happens when I'm doing the show notes. Is all of a sudden I'll be like, okay.
Oh, Steve just referenced the song.
Steve just referenced something, and now I have to Google it and figure out what it is. So nobody say anything else that I have to make a show note for.
Let me just find out what it is while we're.
So it's if we do have show notes or anything else, we should get this out of the way. You can find them at clarkwoods.com/hot/21.
Yes.
21. The podcast is old enough to drink.
Yes, and unfortunately we're not drinking. Well, you're drinking your big gulp.
I'm drinking a big gulp.
But
which was a lesson learned in a previous episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you kept on bringing them and being like, "Oh, like let's pause it halfway through."
Let's pause it halfway through so I can piss.
Yeah. It was really great. So
sometimes, I mean, it's not the big gulp's fault. I have a bladder like an infant. Sometimes I have to pause the podcast to piss when I've had nothing more than, I don't know.
I want to know, like, it's like our podcast can drink now if it was a human being.
Yes.
I want to hear your first time experiencing alcohol.
My first time experiencing alcohol.
And I want to tell. I got a story to tell about your dad from the other night.
I don't know that my first time experiencing alcohol was all that interesting. I think it was first time experiencing it legally or first time at all.
No, legally. No, the first time you're having alcohol.
Okay,
you know?
I really think the first time
it was when I was 5. It was called Jesus juice.
It was still from my mother's tea.
Oh.
It might have no. I think the first time I ever had it, and it was one of those things like smoking, which I've never done, and like coffee, which I've never done, that my parents did that I just wanted nothing to do with. So I didn't try any alcohol until college, and I think that the first thing I had was a sip of absolutely rancid champagne at right before we went on to do The Importance of Being Earnest. My sophomore year of college.
So you were like toasting.
We were toasting, and I was like, I guess everyone else is doing it. I
kind of
pressure.
I kind of like shitty champagne. Like that's something that I
do
don't
like
mind.
shitty champagne now, but when that's the first thing that you've ever had, it's
like Brut.
Oh yeah, champagne gets me giggly drunk, which I think is fun for anybody.
Giggly drunk is, and in fact, that's one of the reasons that I spent so long not drinking was because I physically resemble my dad, personality-wise resemble my dad. And my dad borders somewhere between talkative and angry as a drunk. As he's gotten older, it's mostly just talkative.
The other night he was just angry.
All right, Steve can tell me things that I don't know.
Thank you for pressed.
But he could be an angry, sort of. At least belligerent, not like
Yeah. No, he wasn't
not
yeah.
violent, just
yeah.
angry.
Just a lot of anger,
and
vitriol.
I didn't want anything to do with that, so I didn't drink for a really long time. The story you probably want is that my cast party for my senior project in college, and forgive me, listeners, if you've heard this before.
Boo! I hate your damn stories. Oh wait, no, I'm kidding.
That we
got pulled over.
No, we were having a cast party at my friend Tori's house, and my friend I have told this story before. My friend Tori wanted to get me drunk. She also wanted to get me stoned, and she didn't succeed in getting me stoned. But her 4-year-long mission was to get me drunk. Sat me down at the kitchen table at the townhouse, pushed all food out of arm's length, and continued to put wine coolers in front of me.
That would just give me a tummy ache, and I probably said that before.
You probably did. In the previous episode where we talked about this. And so I got drunk off of 4 like Bartles and James.
Do you remember the title?
I'm
of
not
them?
100% sure, but I want to say that's the kind that my parents always had around, I think, and so I think that was the kind. At any rate, yeah, that and a shot of Aftershock. And then
Aftershock was always, and I probably said this before, Aftershock was always a really bad idea because it was like, hey, let's have this glass bottle that has rock candy in it.
Yeah.
And so when you drink all the booze, you smash the bottle open, and you basically are like trying to distinguish, is that glass? Is that candy? I don't know.
Does this cut my tongue or is it delicious?
Well, it could still cut your tongue and be candy.
It could.
Both are delicious.
Yeah.
What
So
glass?
that was my first drinking story.
I want to hear your first drinking story. Was it...
Well, there's several first drinking stories that come to mind, and I'm trying to figure out which one I want to go with, whether or not
one that's more funny than anything else.
Okay, we'll go with the hilarious one. Well, this one I think was kind of unique because I still hadn't really gotten my bearings on what drinks were.
Yeah.
So I was at this reception. I played soccer in high school, and we did like a little award ceremony to. Because who needs an award for participation, right?
Yeah.
And no, but I think we were in high school and we did this award ceremony, and all I wanted was a Shirley Temple because it was sweet and delicious, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember the name, so I kept going to the bartender and I was like, "Give me a Bloody Mary."
Oh.
And he was like, no. And I'm like, I was pissed because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, all I want is what would be a Shirley Temple. Why you messing with me? He's like, I'm like, give me a Bloody Mary, like being a little bitch basically, like to this guy. And like, eventually I broke him down and he pours me a Bloody Mary, this 16-year-old kid at a reception with other high schoolers and their parents, gives me a Bloody Mary. I look at it, I walk back to my seat and I take a drink and I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. Cause like
it's tomato juice and vodka,
hot sauce.
It is about the exact opposite of sweet and tasty.
Yeah, it's very, very, very savory and very just gross.
And I'm now a fan, who
I don't
doesn't like to start their Sundays without, some.
Well,
some
if I got a hangover,
substance,
maybe, but I don't know. I need extra hot sauce in there though, because I don't
Slice
like
of
tomato
bacon,
juice. Bless you. Oh my goodness.
Let my God bless you too.
I don't. Even, I remember.
I thought I was gonna have to cut that, but no, it's funny.
Don't bleep his name. I have. Don't bleep it.
Don't
but
bleep
I remember the one I'm about to say because it's important to the story that I'm talking about somebody specifically.
Okay.
It's not important, but I think it makes the story more fun.
Okay.
So I remember I was at this kid John Learson's house, and we were hanging out watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. And we had the bright idea. His parents had like wine downstairs in the basement, so we both went downstairs. We snagged a bottle of wine and we kind of snuck out of the house and we went into the woods. And then we took it out of the backpack, and then we were like, oh, we don't have a cork. Our cork, or like the corkscrew. There we go. We don't have a corkscrew. Cork. We do have a cork, and it's in the bottle, and we can't. So basically, what we did was we took a stick and we jammed the cork into the bottle.
There you go.
So we could, intuitive.
Just come up with a word.
What word am I trying to think
Intuitive?
of? Intuitive. I don't know. Not intuitive.
Enjoy. Not enjoy.
Enterprising.
Enterprising
Makes sense. Enterprising young youths. I don't know. You might want to bleep intuitive. People might get offended.
I mean, at this point, maybe
how many
each
things do we say on a weekly basis that might offend somebody?
Yeah, never mind. So keep it in intuitive.
In honor of the 21st birthday, maybe each bleep you have to take a shot.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think anybody does this drinking game, because if they would, they'd get like totally hammered every week.
I think we need to do the drink. Now, how could
we can't do the drinking game during? We'd have to listen to the show while I don't know. That's way too
commentary track.
Yeah. How could you do it? No, never mind.
So back into wall.
So we'd each have headphones in and be listening to. No, you can't really do it. I don't know. I think this is a good idea. No,
it doesn't make any sense.
No.
So yeah, we have the bottle of wine and with the cork in it, and then I think flecks of stick in there as well. And so we're
like to the oaky aroma. Of the bouquet.
Indeed, yeah, it was good. And so we're taking massive pulls from this wine bottle in the woods, and I remember going back, and then we totally reeked of booze. Like we were just in the woods drinking for like an hour. And like when we got back, his parents could totally have told that we were drunk, and then but they didn't say anything. And then like my parents picked me up and they didn't say anything either. And
it wasn't even a sleepover party.
No, it was just like I was there for the day.
Day drinking.
Yeah, it was in the afternoon. It was afternoon. It's fine.
So you say his parents didn't say anything, right?
They didn't say anything, and like maybe my parents just like their noses don't work and they didn't smell it either. Maybe his parents didn't smell it either.
I think parents. Well, as a parent, I would like to say I think parents are smarter than kids think they are. And could you conceive of a situation where years from now you have a kid and they come in reeking of booze, but they're fine. They're alive.
Yeah.
Like, they don't look like anything terrible has happened. Like, do you say anything?
I don't know.
Were you funny? Like, maybe
I don't know. We might have been just
at
a
that
bunch
point, and they're like, all right, we'll just.
We might have just been.
Then in the morning, we'll wake them up early and with loud noises, and see how you're.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like that smoking like the entire pack of cigarettes as a punishment. It's like
I would have been okay with that.
Let's make it
then.
a little miserable,
I mean, part of the beauty of having kids is fucking with them, isn't it?
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know why. I don't know why I started smoking. It made no sense.
I think that was my fault, actually.
No, I smoked before I met you.
Really?
I smoked back. Like I remember. I'm dropping another old timey name.
I'm trying to picture Matt in his Fred Rogers sweater being the reason that Steve smoked.
No. It was. I remember.
Steven, have a cigarette.
And Mr. McFeely comes off. I got your carton, Mr. Rogers. Is that what he sounded like? I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm not doing it.
Well, at least you just gave me an episode title.
I got your carton, Mr. Rogers.
Why not?
So yeah, like I remember hanging out at Adam Gerhardt's house and Randy Hentz. Do you guys either of you guys remember that kid?
Why do I know that name?
Because we used to hang out with him, me and John.
Okay, yeah.
So he had like a pack of smokes and I'm like, give me one of those. And he there was no peer pressure. He was just smoking a butt, and I'm like, I'll have one of those too.
Yeah.
And then that's how it started. And I started smoking. I was 16, and then I quit. I remember I quit my senior year.
Yeah.
I was on my way to school because I walked because I was an idiot and didn't realize that there was a bus to pick me up at the end of the freaking street.
Hey, exercise, Steve.
Yeah, it was good. It was I'm getting my steps in. But yeah, I remember walking to school and I had a cigarette on the way, and I was just like, I remember I threw the pack in the woods, and I'm like, enough, I'm not smoking anymore. And then the last day of school, senior year, we had that Beck concert that we went to.
Where it's at?
Yeah. And like at the concert, there was some dude in the line that had cigarettes, and I bummed one off of him, and that was where I started again.
Again.
See, I was a product, and I haven't smoked it for a while, actually.
Me neither. Bump it.
There it is. We just bumped it for those who can't see.
Yeah, well, I think they assumed that.
Well, there was a little sound effect there. I think they heard that.
Yeah.
But I had the, I don't know if it's the pleasure of, but my first real work experience was my grandfather had a little wholesale business, and they sold candy and cigarettes. So if you can imagine growing up in an atmosphere where you just have your two vices at hand's length, at mouth's length, you know, like as a little child, I would raid the candy, and then like, you know, working in there with all the guys where you could still smoke butts and in the warehouse, you know, like you'd sneak a couple, you know, and I mean, I don't want to blame him, but I was just around it, and you know, these guys were so cool.
Yeah,
and
so it's totally his fault.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't know that it's a blame thing.
No, I'm just kidding. Anyways.
No. I'm not trying to get us too serious here. But you know, if the stuff's around, ultimately, you're still a human being. Yes, you're a kid, but you know, you can make your own decisions, and it's not their fault. Like they were doing what was good for them. My parents had cigarettes around. You know,
and you chose the other route.
Chose the other, and I don't think there's any. You know, I'm glad that they stopped smoking, but I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that they had cigarettes. I don't know if that is a point that
I think you're just a cop out. That was a bunch of bullshit.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
That was like that Kevin Smith movie that was terrible.
Cop out.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh. That one.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, which one was good, Steve?
There were a bunch of them were good. Shut up.
I say as a former obsessive about Kevin Smith. I used to love Kevin Smith films. Yeah. But
huge fan.
I did not watch Did you actually get to watch Tusk?
I did not get to watch Tusk.
Oh, okay. How about you?
I was looking forward to it, but I have not seen it yet. No.
Yeah, no, I
Damn
saw...
Sorry, no comment.
Farts.
None
of us have seen... Well, I went to see The Hobbit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in 3D.
Fuck. The Smaug?
What, you don't like the...
No, I don't like yes, I don't like
I went with your brother.
Bastards. No, I told my wife, I told Stephanie this weekend, at the end of the weekend when we were... not having an argument, but I was basically trying to explain why I was in such a pissy mood. I said, you know, like 6 months ago, the one thing I want to do on this past weekend that just finished was see the Hobbit. That was it. That was the only thing. I was like, that weekend before Christmas, when the Hobbit comes out, all I want to do, all I am hoping to accomplish is see the Hobbit. And did I see the Hobbit? No. Will I see the Hobbit this week? Probably not. Will I see the Hobbit the week after that? Probably not. I don't know.
You go, like,
and that's how North Korea wins.
Yeah.
Did you hear? I just saw.
Is there more news?
No, well, I saw that their internet is going kablooey.
Did Anonymous do that?
There's no evidence of where it came from. But what was interesting about the article, and I don't know if I'll be able to find it in my history, is the article made mention...
Because you cleared it after you... I did a jerk-off motion.
That is what private browsing is for, Steve.
I know, and I do that, even though I...
DuckDuckGo. Actually, DuckDuckGo is my search engine of choice. But the...
Spank,
no,
go.
the article... the article had a couple of mentions of the president's response to the whole thing, and they kept coming back to the president's response to it, almost as if to intimate that that our government was the one that was responsible.
He's very intuitive.
Yes. Yeah, North Korea does win if I don't go see it.
Yeah, you just have to battle North Korea right now by watching movies.
Or Smaug. All right, so I'm gonna spoil a bit.
I did battle Korea in Civ. I have to share this because
did you win?
After a month of trying, yesterday afternoon, this was the one bright spot of my weekend. I finally won a cultural victory in Civ 5, Brand New World with Poland. Polish culture dominated the world, not Polish submarines, but because I was not fighting
all those jokes again.
I was not fighting. I was every time somebody asked me to fight a war. No, I built up my army. That's the first thing I learned after like the first 3 times I tried. And I'd
You
be like,
still need to have an
culture,
army?
Ooh, culture. Hi, I'm Germany. I'm going to invade you. And then, every other time before yesterday afternoon, I would lose to somebody pursuing a diplomatic victory. But yesterday, I don't know if I was playing against Korea in that one. I think Korea won just because they weren't there.
A Chinaman took them from me in Korea.
No, China got defeated by I forget who. But anyway, I won, and not only did I win, it only took me till 1930 to win.
Nice.
Cultural victory.
The Roaring '20s. You made it through.
I made it through.
You beat the Depression.
Yeah.
Germany was right there next to me too, ready to invade. My spies kept telling me, Germany's plotting against you. He's plotting against you.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously. I need a spy
If
for that.
history's taught you anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, I won. I was very proud of
I'm
that.
very glad. What was I talking about before?
The Hobbit.
Oh yeah, The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
So like,
And your spoilers.
I have you guys read the book?
No.
You've never read the book. Okay, never
mean,
mind then, because I am going to spoil
Not
it.
since the first movie.
Oh, okay.
I've seen the Rankin Bass cartoon. Does that count?
So yeah, you've seen. You know what happens. You know that
Yeah.
Was it Rankin Bass?
Yeah, it was the same folks that did all the Rudolph
Okay,
cartoons and
so
whatnot.
all right. Yeah.
And yeah, like the guy shoots.
Yeah, Bard.
But yeah, that happens in the freaking beginning of the movie.
Of course it does.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It should have happened at the end of the last movie.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. There should not have been 3 movies.
Well,
Yeah.
they said like
I mean, back when there were going to be 2 movies, it was still that strained credulity. It was like I don't know.
they're adding
And
all this
then
stuff with
3
Radagast with the and
but
with bird
I've
poop
come-
on his
I've
face.
just come to accept it. Yes, with bird poop on his face.
And then an eagle
everywhere else.
comes that could have saved them in the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
The entire time. Saved
The
them
eagle.
the trip.
Why did the eagle drop them there and not all the way at the fucking mountain?
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, like so they shoot the dragon right off the bat, and you're like, oh, that's the movie, isn't it? Nope.
Nope.
That's not the movie.
You get the
It's,
Battle of the 5 Armies. I saw the cartoon. I know there's the Battle of the 5 Armies.
yeah, but it didn't take that long in the cartoon.
In the cartoon, no.
Or in the book.
None of it took
They
as long
said,
in the book.
in fact, it was on Wait, Don't Tell Me. They said that it would take less time to read the book than it would to watch all 3 movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that?
I guess reading is not fundamental.
Reading
Stop
is-
reading, everybody.
No,
Listen to
reading-
podcasts more.
Reading is fun when you don't have to do it for your job and read lots and lots of short stories and papers. And
Are you almost done, though?
I'm done.
You're done grading?
I'm done grading.
Yes. Bump it.
Well,
We bumped it.
I made the sound effect.
yeah, no, I'm done. Now I've got to do all the other shit that I have to do.
Which is get the lesson plans for next semester ready.
Lesson plans. Nobody cares.
Syllabi.
Syllabi for next semester. I'm designing an online course to make a little extra money.
Nice.
I gotta rework the website, and on my list of to-dos is figuring out how to make this show
Profitable?
profitable.
Okay.
Here's how you
Stop doing it.
don't put it on Facebook.
Don't put it on Facebook.
Okay, do we put it on Facebook?
Well, we do advertise that it's out on Facebook.
But we don't. It's not on there, right?
It's not on there. No, you have to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Another thing popped into my brain. We were talking about drinking stories, and were you there the time we went up to Paul's winter house?
I've been up there a couple times.
But the first time we went up there, and we it was like right after Lebowski came out, and we were all drinking White Russians.
I don't know if I was there that time. I mean, I somewhat remember like upstairs darts. So
Yeah, that I think
but
that might have been the time.
happened
That
on
was
several
like
occasions. So
yeah, I think that might have been early on, and then we just decided to make a thing of it. But this particular time, Yucko was pretty deep into the White Russians, and like
Clearly.
and like dairy doesn't really usually make people happy in the tummy when you drink too much of it, as well as alcohol, and he was getting sick over the railing.
and I think I was there.
And I remember
because that became a game too.
yeah, like the puking off the railing.
Who could
Puke
go?
on?
Yeah.
No. It was just like there was at one point like a line of like maybe 4 or 5 people of yakking over the railing at the same time.
Well, so what
I
was the
think
game?
Adam
Was the game
Wuha
could you
won.
like run past on the bottom floor and not get puked on?
I no, the
It
game
more
was
of,
just
like how far could you project?
Ah.
it?
yeah. So, but like right when Yucko started getting sick, you remember Phil Osceola?
Yeah.
keep on name dropping that you might have to, whatever, don't fucking believe it. He goes up to Dan as he's yakking, and it's like almost pure white because it was mostly milk. And Phil goes up to Dan and goes, "Hey, Dan, you enjoying the mashed potatoes?" He's just puking all his white.
He was such a soft-mannered person.
Yeah.
So to come up with something like that, it was like just prime real estate. You know, he just happened to be standing in the right place with the right amount of white.
And I just I lost it, and I was laughing my buns off that night.
It's funny. Speaking of White Russians, my wife and I just had our first kid.
Yay!
Just over 2 months, so super excited. It's been great. Blessed be sleep deprived, but
Yeah.
you know, my wife, you know, well deserved for all the hard work and, you know, trauma her body and she went through, you know, decided to enjoy her first drink since having the kid. And you know how you do the pump and dumps.
Yeah.
And
That's me. That's me every.
You know, because you don't want
Steve. It's not exactly the same.
I know it's a different pump and
Well,
dump.
it's funny because it's like technically feeding your baby on the toilet could also be a pump and dump. But I've made that joke with her. Yeah. But you know, she had her first drink, and you have to get rid of the milk because the alcohol, you know,
Right.
will go through there. And I was thinking, you know, and I don't know if this is too disgusting to bring up, but I was like, speaking of White Russians, I was like, well, Jackie, do we really have to get rid of it? Because, you know, I can just throw some Kahlua in there and we have instant White Russian, you know? But, you know, that's...
And what did she say?
She just looked at me, shook her head, and, you know, kind of ignored the whole statement. But, you know, I'm just thinking it's an idea. It could be marketable to a certain fetish.
Marketable,
crowd,
yeah.
You know? Breast milk
should
White
say so.
Russians.
Yeah, I don't know.
Imported from Russia.
I remember back on Opie and Anthony, way back in the day, they had like, you know.
Do you have to be white? Do you have to be Russian or of Russian descent?
Don't
in
make
order
it
to-
about race, Chris, for Christ's sake.
Well,
know-
they do have black Russians, too.
Yeah, and that's without the milk.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd like that. Racist.
black. Haven't we done an episode about how the first person I saw?
I
was a
know,
black
I
woman?
realize this. I'm just kidding. I'm just doing that thing where people just call you racist because you said a thing, even though you're not. Get it?
Get it?
Got it.
Good.
Good.
All right, so we talked about that. What else is on the
What
list?
else is on the list?
I forget what we put down. We talked about drinking for a
We
while.
did talk about drinking for a while. We got quite a. Albums and video games.
Oh,
Music
yes!
and video games. We've been putting this off for a couple of weeks.
It's not that we were putting it off. It's just
that we got horribly off topic.
But the thing, like, I keep on having to address this every episode. We never specifically said this is what the topic is, and so therefore we're never possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about things, and it was a topic, but we can't really get horribly off topic if we never established it in the first place. So our entire show is a fraud.
So we should rename the show.
No,
That's what you're saying.
because then that'll confuse people.
That will confuse people. Don't rename things in midstream.
Yeah, especially while you're urinating.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So yes, albums and video games. So we were talking about it, and like, there's certain albums that I always think about when I'm playing a certain video game, and vice versa. And so like I was listening to Mr. Bungle, the first Mr. Bungle album, and it always reminds me of Secret of Mana, because I had borrowed that from John's Roads. I keep dropping names.
All of them.
Well, with so many goddamn Johns, we do need to drop names.
Yeah.
It's just in order to keep them.
And so like I borrowed it from him, and like I played through that game while I was like when I first got that album. So like when I hear that album, I think of that. We didn't just pause it just now.
No.
Fourth wall removed. Yeah. So Mr. Bungle, I was listening to that album, and I really like that album, and I like that game. This topic sucks.
Well, I mean, in the middle of it, did you just decide to scream Mortal Kombat? You know, because I was listening to like a podcast on the movie Mortal Kombat, and how I found out that apparently the CD with the song Mortal Kombat was like a #1 hit.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I bought that album.
And all he really does
I did.
is say scream Mortal Kombat, scream finish him.
But it was,
and
then it was dun 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 dun.
No, but it
dun,
was a
dun,
techno
dun,
song.
dun,
That's
yeah,
basically.
nothing gets me more pumped up though. Still, I feel like I can shower vigorously if I heard that, or I could be like slowly walking on a treadmill, like
Well, if
Slowly
maybe
walking
at a high incline.
At a
But
high
there-
incline.
I might increase it to 6. I don't know.
you remember on the first TNS album, we had the First Bow song, which was our techno song.
Yeah.
And it was like dun 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 dun. It was just like, go First Bow, go. And it was just like nonsense, but it was like Dan when we did the Ape's Choice. Like Dan didn't want to do that one because he thought, it ended up good the first time around because it was just like what you would think of a techno song of the time.
Sequels always suck, right?
Well, no. Have you heard the Ape's Choice?
Not the first album, the second album.
No. The third album.
The third album, no, because I tried downloading it and I couldn't on my work computer because
We can't at home.
I don't have a computer at home.
What are you, a tablet?
Yeah, tablet.
Well, try it on the tablet and get it like right into your iTunes.
I wonder how you could, because I did it on the computer first and then it went over.
Yeah, get the freaking album. It's really good.
I really want to. I mean, I was honestly upset that I couldn't download it.
I think it's on his SoundCloud.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, post the link.
And we always post the link to because the theme song, of course, is by TNS.
Diary of a Hobo.
Yes, and there's always a link to Dan's SoundCloud. I think you should be able to play it through SoundCloud. But that's a really interesting. It's one of those. You have an iPad or a different tablet?
iPad. Yeah.
Yeah, and the file management stuff. I'm not going to get into it. We're not a tech podcast.
But it's also a work iPad, so I don't want to be downloading things. Right. Like anything. Once I start downloading that, it's like,
then
where
it's
does
just
it
like,
end?
Yeah, you just start
so
with
much
start
temptation.
With the new Sweethearts and end with just like hardcore bestiality porn.
I mean, I like softcore bestiality personally.
Oh, okay. So when it's just like some
it's
lady,
like the Cinemax version.
Some lady's just licking the end of the Red Rocket.
You don't really see anything, It's implied.
Can you show the Red Rocket at all and still have it be considered soft?
Well, I don't know. Like I don't know how that kind of stuff works. Maybe they're just heavy petting.
Oh, dang, there you go.
Well done.
But yeah, sound effects like it was.
I was just you were talking about the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, and I think the guy that did that soundtrack also did the music for a pinball machine. I was at Pinball Wizard last night, and he did music for a pinball machine called Black Knight 2000, and I don't know if you can find the link to it. Show people.
I'll try.
Okay, so it's just like this very triumphant music. It's like oh yeah, and then it's like the Black Knight says something every once in a while. It's like, give me your money, like he's a bully. It's like
it doesn't show me the
and it's like this chorus of people going beat the Black Knight, and it's awesome. And like I kept on draining right as like the song was kicking in, and I'm like, God damn it! I
would be giving into those demands though. Like when Mortal Kombat said finish him, I was like, all right, whatever you say.
Well, so I was just looking it up just for the sake of argument. It came out in 1995, and that really was the golden. And of course, my iPhone is not showing me the artist names, but that really was the golden age of soundtracks in terms of like to get that extra song that your favorite band did, it would be on a soundtrack, and you'd have to go get the soundtrack because there was no iTunes yet, and there was no Napster yet. So to get
there was
that
Napster in 95.
In 95,
I thought so, or was it like more like 96, 97?
I mean, it may have been around that. I don't know if it was very popular.
I thought it was a little bit later than that.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah. I mean, because I didn't even have internet on campus. We've talked.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have internet on campus until 96.
Okay, never mind then.
At any rate, so that was one of the ways that you got songs by your favorite artist, and I don't remember if there were that. I'm looking at the song titles to try and remind myself. I don't remember if there were that many popular artists on the soundtrack, but there were at least a couple.
I think that they just remixed that song 6 times.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they just played it.
There's 16 tracks.
16
Really?
tracks.
All right, so 6 out of 10. They played it enough times throughout the. I don't think they ever stopped playing it throughout the movie. So
No.
I'm surprised that there are 16 tracks. I just felt like at every 5 minutes they just kind of went into it. It's like finish him.
I was surprised to see that movie show up on either Netflix or HBO Go. Sorry, instant streaming services.
Yeah, stop freaking
number
plugging
one
things.
number
And this
two.
is usually my fault.
I was surprised to
Plug it
see
so
them
good.
show up there, and I think I added it to my queue. I was like, I gotta
Yeah.
watch it, and then I didn't.
What is it?
Because it was also that movie was also kind of in the beginning of computer generated like technology and
yeah.
involved in movies, and like this generation was like that first real good glimpse of
Yeah.
what there will be.
Oh, absolutely.
So you kind of like you got so excited when you first saw it. It's like, oh, Scorpion's like his spear is crawling out of his hand. That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
Mortal Kombat question: Who's your go-to when you're playing Mortal Kombat?
I think I would do.
Is this Mortal Kombat 1?
Yeah, the
original?
first one, yeah.
All right.
I would think I would use Raiden.
Raiden.
Because he made like that when he did that dash move at you.
Oh,
you'd
yeah.
just be like, "Ah!"
But you could counter it with an uppercut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I was definitely a Sub-Zero, and it was strictly for the finishing move. I mean, of
Yeah.
all the
Did he,
finishing
like,
moves,
did he-
he would literally just, rip your dome out, spine attached, and just kind of just thrust it out. And I mean, like, you don't get any more violent as a. I think I was in 6th grade when I remember really going to the arcade and playing it, and
Like
that
Fun
was
World?
like. It was. I was actually at this camp, and
Oh.
like I'd sneak away and find like an arcade. It was in Cambridge. I found this
A
arcade.
camp in Cambridge?
Yeah, it was like a nerd camp at MIT.
Oh, okay.
And
Nerd.
no, you don't like. But I would sneak out there and just kind of, because obviously my time was better spent, playing video games and ripping people's domes out of their skull.
See, I was always more of a Street Fighter guy. Like
Yeah,
in that big debate, I was always more.
I'd watch
Street
you guys
Fighter.
play Street Fighter. A whole
I was
lot,
I was way
I couldn't
more
compete.
Mortal Kombat.
Well, I think like
Who was
more,
yours, Chris?
Scorpion. Yeah. Still to this day, even
Get over here.
Yep. Even through all of them, and I've started playing. What the hell is the game called? I gotta look it up.
Mortal Wombat.
Marvel Contest of Champions on my iPhone, which is a fighting game.
Oh, really?
Free to play fighting game on iOS. And
Wow, that is a lot of plugs.
I
Right there.
just plugged it so hard. I was about to be like, I'm gonna get that.
I remember when Mortal Kombat came out for iOS, I downloaded it right away. I think I probably paid a couple bucks too, because back then not everything was free to play. Anyway, one of the things I find myself doing as sort of an opening move in that is there's a way to sort of dodge backwards in the way that I always would with Scorpion, go backwards
yeah.
to get enough space to do the get over here, which. Of course, John Martin from Generation Goat, the other show that I occasionally do, knows that I play Scorpion, knows my moves, and he plays Raiden, and he could play any fucking character he wanted to and kick my ass. And sometimes I think when we're up at Fun Spot, which we're allowed to say Fun Spot.
Yes, we are.
We are allowed to
We can say Fun
we
Spot.
can say Fun Spot. We can plug that.
Jules, you're the best.
When we'd be up at Fun Spot and we'd be going between the 3 Mortal Kombat cabinets, which are all right next to each other, sometimes John will just pick a random character just to prove how much I suck at video games.
You should throw him off. I bet if you tried another character, he wouldn't have any clue how to combat those leg
he still
sweeps.
beats me. He still
Low
beats me.
kick,
It's just
low
not
kick.
as
Yeah, that's
fast.
basically all. That's why I never really liked Mortal Kombat, because there was less strategy than Street Fighter.
Yeah, all you could do is the leg sweeps and kind of make your way
and then
through
do
them.
an uppercut occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot less strategy, a lot more just like, and it was just like you would try to get to a point where you would do one of the finishing moves, or
Yeah.
or in the second one there was like animalities and
And
Oh,
there's,
and
the
babalities.
babalities,
Oh,
and I'm
God.
like,
I mean, animalities were kind of cool.
when they turn
you
into
know.
an animal and then you kill you, but like when you
Yeah.
turn them into a baby, what?
Yeah.
I think that was in the third one.
Well, and one of I think it's
And they had the toasty guy in the corner every.
it's one of the cabinets, maybe at Fun Spot, maybe somewhere else. I remember, or maybe it was just that I'm just too inept to figure out what any of the actual fatalities were. The only finishing that I could do with a babality, I just like, what? I just wasted however many quarters to be able to turn somebody into a baby. No, I want.
Well, you have to win.
Burn them
It
alive.
should be part of a like combo fatality. Like you turn them into a baby and then you
burn
eat their
them
head.
alive.
You know.
Yeah, that's nice.
Turn them into a baby and then rip their dome
So
off.
back to pinball for a second.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bungle. There's a song in on the Mr. Bungle album that samples some stuff from the Cyclone pinball machine, where it's like, hurry, hurry, step right up, and then like there's like ride the Ferris wheel, and like it's like the drop is like intentionally put there, like in the song.
Yeah.
And there's also I think Earth Shaker, which was another
It's different from Rump Shaker.
rump shaker. I'm gonna dip my balls in it. I don't know where I was at like when before we paused it, so I just thought I'd say the thing.
In
from
the
the
interest
state.
of completely breaking the fourth wall, we should point out that the reason that we've paused it a couple of times is that we're recording in my house again, and we're recording in my house at a time when my daughter Kaylee is in the house.
It's definitely not because you drank a big gulp. And had
No,
to use
it's
the
that.
restroom.
I needed to put. I needed
I
to
mean,
everyone
I'll
to
give you,
understand. I have
I
not
commend you.
needed to pause for a pee break.
Nice. So yeah,
But now I do. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Bungle, pinball.
there was you mentioned that your daughter's 8. Is that okay?
I did when we weren't recording.
Is that okay to say? Am I alright to
Yes.
say that?
You
Okay.
can say-
I'm not saying her name.
You can say her name.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's
I
weird.
just said her name.
Oh.
I did.
I think.
Yes, I think I said her name.
So, there was an episode of the old podcast I used to do called it 8-Year-Old Dinner, because we would do that after every show. We would go to the store and we'd buy
Eat
things.
8-year-olds?
No,
Oh.
we'd eat things that 8-year-olds like to eat. We'd get
yeah.
like SpaghettiOs or like
Did you have to call it
raviolis.
SpaghettiOs?
We didn't have to.
I was actually thinking of, I thought it would be fun to have like a 7-Eleven party. And you
There's
just,
one
like,
across the street.
You just buy products from
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven and like kind of rock out. with
And we're in New
whatever's
Hampshire,
there.
so you can get
Yeah,
booze
exactly.
there too.
You can get cheap wine and beers.
Push the cork in, drink it in
Shove
the
the cork
woods.
in with the stick and get that oaky that oaky pine flavor. Yum.
There's a hint of
For someone who doesn't like gin, I'm surprised you used the pine stick. to
Well, it
shove
wasn't
in there.
necessarily a pine stick. It might have been oak.
Let's call it pine. Just
Yeah,
for the
let's
sake.
call it pine. And I still don't like gin. Although I did a couple weeks ago, I did have a gin and tonic because my friends were.
Yeah, it's
having
Christmassy.
Yeah,
right?
and it was sort of
Xmas.
like festive.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy it. Like she made it well, but I still don't like gin. So I was just like,
I mean, I used to drink gin and juice just for the song.
Yeah.
You know.
Were
Have
you
you
also
heard-
smoking Indo?
I wish I was.
No.
No.
Have you heard the Gourds cover of Gin and Juice? That's the bluegrass cover. That,
I have
like,
not.
I
heard
have.
the guy from shoot.
Oh,
Fail. Here we go.
Richard
He's a
Cheese.
pianist. No, and she's a brick and
Ben Folds.
Oh yeah,
I heard Ben Folds cover.
Oh, that
song.
Oh yeah, I have too. Recently,
I'll look that
actually.
up.
Oh, you know what?
the
No,
Gourd-
sorry. It might have been Bitches Ain't Shit.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It
You're
was
right.
Bitches Ain't Shit. So, sorry. I
No,
went
the
off.
Gourds do a
Went off.
fantastic cover of it back in the days post Napster, but when we had Kazaa. I think it was Kazaa.
Well, you know Richard Cheese, right?
No.
Oh my God! Like the end of the new Dawn of the Dead, or the newer Dawn of the Dead movie. There was like the Down with the Sickness cover.
Oh, yeah.
That's really
Or what, but it was like, but it's Richard Cheese, so it's like, but it's him like doing like a Frank Sinatra kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Paul Anka does some good covers of, like grungy rock songs. Like he did Smells Like Teen Spirit
Really?
and Wonderwall and a U2 song and Van Halen song. And I was like, it was pretty amazing. Like I remember putting it on at like this kind of, not, this bar and Lowell with a bunch of hardcore kids, and they were like, what the hell is this guy doing? It like really like was the record scratch noise where everyone kind of got silent until they realized it was Smells Like Teen Spirit playing. They're like, all right.
There's a station, like I think I brought it up before, that plays like classical music. Like whenever I'm going up to Fun Spot, I always flick through and find it. Like when I'm looking for the Hawk. But it's just they just play classical covers, just like classical music covers of like rock songs, and I'm just like every once in you're listening to it for a bit, and you're like, oh yeah, I know this song now, and you're like, I think Smells Like Teen Spirit was one of the songs that I was like, oh yeah, because it takes a bit because there's no lyrics, and you're like, Oh.
They were singing
That's
with
like
marbles
that's
in
like
their
any
mouth.
Tori Amos cover.
Yeah.
It takes about 5. Well, all Tori Amos covers are about 7 minutes, and it takes about 5 of those for you to recognize, like before 5 minutes of those before you realize, oh, that's an actual. I've heard that song before. Actually, her "Smells Like Teen Spirit" came out when she was relatively new as an artist, and that one's of a manageable length and sounds similar.
Yeah.
To "Smells Like Teen Spirit," but I've heard covers since where it really is. It's like 7 minutes long, and like 5 minutes to it, and you're like, "Oh, I know that song." Yeah,
There was
the Gourds Gin and Juice cover is awesome.
I like
And if you've
put
never
that in the nudes.
if you've never seen, I'll
Nudes.
put it. I'll put it in the show notes. And if you've never seen,
Nudie.
there was a YouTube video of somebody playing that version for Snoop, and he didn't recognize at first what it was.
Alright.
But then when he so he's just got the headphones on. When he recognizes that it's his own song, his head starts bopping.
Oh
He's
yeah,
really
I can
into
picture
it.
that.
Yeah,
It's like I knew exactly his reaction.
he's probably like, yeah,
and then it goes back to
that's my impersonation of
It's a
Snoop.
good one.
That's a very good. I couldn't.
I should just start doing
If
impersonations
I
in my
closed my
stand-up.
eyes, I would have
I
thought there
mean,
was
if-
a stoned black
If I
man
was
in
just
my-
listening, I would have thought that Snoop was here with us.
yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm going to say very limited things as Snoop, so we were like, oh, he might be there.
Like, special guest Snoop Doggy Dog.
I don't
There's
know-
a man who's stuck to his guns. I'm
Snoop
just gonna
Lion.
say, I respect Snoop Doggy Dog much more than I respect P Diddy or whatever the hell he's calling
Well, he's-
himself this week, because like he was Puffy, and then he was P Diddy, and then he was
Well,
Diddy.
Snoop changed.
Yeah, Snoop changed his name. It was like, then we just
We're gonna
wanted to be
break
Snoop
your-
Dogg.
Oh,
and then he
come
became
on.
Snoop Lion for a bit.
No!
He did
He did.
reggae and became Snoop Lion.
So yeah,
Shattered,
Damn it.
Sorry,
shattered
dude.
hero moment. right now.
Shattered.
He also did a song for a Hot Pockets commercial that was
That doesn't bother me. You know,
Pocket
full
Like It's
commercial-
Hot.
Pocket.
See, I would have think that he should have done a toaster strudel one because you take the frosting and you drizzle.
Yeah.
There's a song that I heard at a wedding recently, and it was like that. You probably maybe have heard it, but it's like that goes like "Wiggle Wiggle It" or something like that. And
Wiggle, wiggle.
I hate that song. It makes me so mad. It gives me that like weird douche chill.
Well, for somebody with a gut, I kind of enjoy it because I'm like, all right, well, if I just jump once, my body will react to that song. It might do a little bit.
I don't know, but it makes me like it's a very negative response that
It's like a sopping
It didn't-
orifice.
like
In that
Kiki
way, it
Jiki
kind of-
Miracle Breakers sopping orifice.
Yeah.
Hey, when we reference a previous show, drink.
Drink.
And when we talk about things, drink.
Moist.
Yeah.
Moist. Oh, we just ruined it for Rob.
Well, I don't think. Well, I think his wife listens more than we do.
Oh, more than we.
Have you guys?
I mean,
he did.
he does. Whatever. I'm stupid and tired, and like I was out too late last. I went and got grilled cheeses at Ward 8 in Lowell. Plug.
For grilled cheeses, obviously they're awesome. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, that place is great, and it was weird. Like halfway through eating, like a dude walks in. And he's like, "Hey, does anybody?" He's like this, probably a transient, probably on drugs. I don't know for sure, but he comes in asking for jumper cables into a bar.
I mean,
Hey,
Basically,
what is open late night though? I
no,
mean,
but like the thing is, like if you're gonna ask somebody for jumper cables, get somebody that's near their car, because that's usually where they are.
that is usually where they are.
Not a bunch of people drinking at a bar. Hey, you guys, and then he got mad that none of us wanted to help, but none of us could because none of us had jumper cables because we weren't parked anywhere close.
Yeah.
And it was, well, we're at least like 2 blocks away, and we're like, we're not going to walk over in like, with your sketchy ass to our car to get jumper cables. No thanks.
They would have strapped the other end to your nips. And
Yeah, and then he comes in like maybe about half an hour later asking if he can use the bathroom, and we're like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, he just wanted to shoot up
Just wanted
someplace.
to ask questions.
Yeah, I think he just wanted a place to shoot up, warm.
Yeah,
Yeah, good times. But he got mad. He was like really mad. He's like, oh, I hope next time you're in a situation where someone could help you, that they don't help you. But he said it at the top of his lungs, and kind of just slammed the door. And we're just like, what? What is going on? And then the bartender showed us like this weird Christmas video, which at one point had reindeer having sex with each other.
That's not weird. That's another softcore bestiality.
No, it wasn't softcore. You could see like the end
but
of
is it
Shaft going
is it
in.
bestiality if it's reindeer on reindeer?
Oh, probably.
But it was
it's not.
animated.
It
so.
was. That's what I was going to ask. Was it like the Rudolph movie?
It was more like what is it? It's not not furries, but like the anthropomorphic, like kind of like animals that have like human qualities, like just
like the Minotaur.
Yeah. No, but like they were like reindeer, but like they had like they had the reindeer had a human shaped like penis, not like, but it was girthy and long.
So
but,
not all humans.
But like the reindeer lady had bosoms.
She had human bosoms.
Yeah, human bosoms.
Was she walking on 4 legs or 2?
Well, she wasn't walking. She was bent over a table.
So she could have been standing normally, like most reindeer do.
Yeah,
like reindeer do.
So what else we got going?
Well, we have something that we're saving for next time because we don't have it.
Well, thanks for bringing it up, then.
Yeah. Just before the show, I saw a tweet from a guy I follow, Merlin Mann. He was talking. Let me see if I can bring it up. His daughter made it all of like 2 minutes into the Star Wars holiday special. Got up. Turned it off and said yes, like triumphantly.
That was a win for humanity right there.
It was Life Day for Chewbacca, so
That's okay. So here's the thing: is I don't know that I've ever actually seen the whole.
I've
thing.
seen bits of it, but never the whole thing.
All right, I was just gonna. I mean, I know we're all supposed to hate it because that's geekdom.
The internet commands.
The internet commands you hate
movie.
the holiday special.
Yeah,
because it's so bad that it makes it good, though.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not like The Room or Troll 2, as in it's bad. It's so bad it's good. It's just bad.
It's just bad,
and it's just like it's
Too
not
much
even like
the Ewok.
Yeah,
or was it even pre?
No, it was pre Ewok. This was after the first movie. Pre Ewok, yes. And so like they got the entire cast because they weren't necessarily super famous yet.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Because like Harrison Ford is like mega star now,
Yeah.
Even though he's just a grumpy old
Curmudgeon,
curmudgeon.
yeah.
Part time. Watch the Red Letter Media thing and then know what I'm talking about. Actually, they did a video. The folks at the Red Letter Media, they did a video of like a guy or one of their guys dressed up as George Lucas at a convention, going around and buying copies of the Star Wars Holiday Special and breaking them apart right after he buys them,
like the E.T. Atari game.
Oh yeah, well
the landfill treasures.
Yeah, apparently they unearthed it. They found them.
They did.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember hearing a story about that.
And I remember because like the
I don't
angry.
know if that makes me sad for the environment that they can still find them in existence after all these years.
It was that long ago. It's like plastic.
Yeah.
But
But someday when we've all obliterated each other and the aliens come down to do archaeological digs and that's what they find. I mean, what is that going to say about?
They're like, well, they look exactly like us with these graphics.
And then like when you fall in a hole, you have to lift your neck up to get out of the hole and then find the piece. Oh, that was really bad. And it was funny because like the Angry Video Game Nerd did a movie, and I think it just came out on Blu-rays or whatever.
Yeah.
And the premise of the film is like him searching for this like burying the burial site of this of the video games, and they ended up unearthing them like while he was in production. He was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
There was urban legend, and now it's like it actually got unearthed.
Urban fact.
That was one of those things I wondered if during the run of Serial, the podcast that's gone to great acclaim.
Oh, everybody loves it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to like get a little because I tweeted something. It's like, hey, folks that are disappointed that Serial's over, you can also listen to Chris and I talk about bullshit.
I thought that was one of your better plugs in terms of trying to get us extra listeners.
Yeah, like usually
that was good capitalization.
Usually when
on
you
a hashtag,
whereas
most of your like uses of the hashtag are just like.
Well, I usually just look at the side of Twitter and see what's trending. And I'll just be like, I don't choose ones that are like controversial usually. That's because I'm like, I don't want to deal with that shitstorm because they'll be like, oh, this terrible podcast said something about Jews.
Yeah.
Intuition.
Well, the one time I used the Gamergate as a hashtag, we did get responses. Not a lot, but we got a couple.
Yeah, we got a couple of responses from like people like saying it's about journalism and ethics and blah blah. But shut up, I don't care.
Well, interesting about Serial is
Yeah.
my wife and I and child, we drove up here from DC last night, and like that was, we were like, oh, because we haven't listened to it yet. And we're like, all right, this is a perfect opportunity, and I still couldn't convince myself to do so. It's like, I don't know if I want to get that serious at this late at night.
It's good, but I'm glad I listened to it. I'm glad I didn't marathon it. I'm glad I listened to it weekly, because if I was listening to it all at once, I'd just be like bummed out and they just confused and whatever.
Yeah, I didn't marathon. I think I missed somewhere in the middle. I got backlogged, and I did like 2 or 3 in a row, and I was like, this is not the way to listen to it. It was meant to be listened to
as episodic,
episodically.
Yeah.
The reason I brought it up is I kept wondering if during the run of this show, news was going to come out regarding the case.
I kept on checking.
Somewhere, and in fact, that was kind of spoilers. Kind of spoilers. That was one of the things that they go over in the final episode is some of the very recent news regarding the case. So that
if you don't want to listen to the spoiler, go to 5259 on the time code.
You think anybody okay, first of all, once I add the theme music in, that's going to be completely fucking meaningless what you just said.
I know, but I just told them to go back in time because we're at like 55 now.
I know, but by
back in time.
Just listen to an endless loop of me telling them to go back to this one point where it was
Back to the Future soundtrack.
Back to the Future.
Hey, it's almost 2015.
Almost 2015. Where's my hoverboard?
Well, apparently they've worked on it.
I
want the power laces. That's really...
A couple of years ago, I linked to an article where Nike came out with something based on the shoe that didn't have the power laces, but like
it
at the
looked
end
like
of the press release, they were like, give us a couple more years, we're going to actually have the power laces.
You have to 2015, Nike.
Yeah. Get on it. And also, I would like the Cubs to win the World Series against... I guess Miami, but they wouldn't play. They can't play Miami because
Miami's a National League team.
Yeah, so they would have to play the other Florida team. The Devil Rays. The Rays. They're not the Devil Rays anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Jaws 17 or whatever.
Yeah, in 3D.
Yeah.
3D holograms coming out of a building.
It's funny that we actually eventually got around to Back to the Future, because when you were telling the story about the guy coming in looking for jumper cables. Let me see if I can succinctly...
Do you think he was a time traveler?
No. So, one time...
Is that why he came back so quickly afterwards?
One time my car's battery died at the drive-in, and we went into the drive-in just sort of, wondering. And in fact, they did have a portable set of jumper cables.
Yeah, because it's the drive-in, because people's batteries die all the time.
I'm just trying to explain how my thought process got me to Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that guy was not absurd. He was.
Okay.
So you're talking about that. I'm thinking about portable. Excuse me. Portable power
buddy?
packs.
He got a load in his mouth.
And I'm thinking about Back to the Future, and they ran out of gas in the 1800s, right? That's why they can't get it going. It's not that they can't get it.
No. Well, he needs a nuclear reaction.
So
you have the 1.21 gigawatts.
1.21 gigawatts.
But if it's 2015, I don't imagine that there's going to be a portable nuclear reactor.
Well, he had Mr. Fission.
But if we have portable jumper cables now, right? Like, couldn't there have been a portable something that Doc kept in the time machine?
Here's the thing he
had to have the plutonium. So I mean, it's not an easily.
Here's the thing about Mr. Fission. He could have gotten that into the further future.
Yeah. Well,
true.
Isn't it in Back to the Future 3 that this Mr. Fusion works fine, but it's that he doesn't have the gas to get the
motor running? I don't remember 3 too much. All I remember is the kid pointing at his dick at the end.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Back to the Future, which was one of my favorite soundtracks, the first one, but
Huey Lewis in the News.
Oh yeah, tore it up.
Well, the thing is, he
much better than when we finally got to the third one, and the soundtrack was provided by ZZ Top.
But what is it?
And not anything against ZZ Top, but they pretty much got one song.
Well, they had Sammy Hagar doing the second one. It was like I Can't Drive 55 was in the second one.
Yeah.
But what the frick was I saying?
It should have been.
But the Ghostbusters, they wanted Huey Lewis to do the theme to Ghostbusters, but he said no. And then like because he didn't want to do movie soundtracks, and then like the next year he did Back to the Future, and they were like rip shit about it. And
Yeah.
but Huey Lewis also sued the producers Ray Parker Jr., who did the theme, because it sounded way too much like I Want a New Drug.
Yeah.
Drink.
Back to the Future and Huey Lewis's cameo in Back to the Future, I remember being one of those things, and I was talking earlier about how similar I am to my own father. I remember that being one of those things that, like, as a kid, he'd be really proud, be like, "You know who that is? You know who that is?" And I'm like, "No, Dad, I don't know who. That's Huey Lewis right there."
I'm sorry, you're just too darn loud.
and I fear that I am becoming that dad myself. That there are things where we're watching a movie and we're waiting for that moment where I'm like, you know who that, you know.
Oh, dad quizzes. They rule the world. My dad will do that to my mom. He's like, who's playing in this song right now? Who's this artist right now? Tell me. She'll be like, I don't know, Led Zeppelin. No, you're wrong.
No, you're wrong. It's really important. Take another guess.
It's Britney Spears. Oh, but speaking of Back to the Future, one of my favorite games, and I'm bringing up Youth Story again, but was Running Through the Mall, and I think it was Dan, the guy who was on this, who was the guest here previously, who used to go screaming through the mall, Doc, there's something I have to tell you about the future.
What?
Just in the middle of the mall.
There was another thing we used to do. We used to go by the candle store, and we used to yell, "Candles suck!"
Yeah. At
the candle store.
And then we used to buy mice from the pet store, the feeder mice, and then find cars that were unlocked.
Happy holidays.
Well, they wanted a free mouse,
right?
Oh, the dickhead things we used to do when we were youths.
The youths. They were all trouble.
Now we just have bellies and and babies.
Bellies and babies.
The babies didn't come out of our bellies.
And we wiggle,
unlike
wiggle.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that's going to be next week on How Did This Get Made? Is going to be Junior. So.
Oh, really?
I keep on plugging other things. Hey, I should just plug everything else. Hey, if you're looking to listen to things that aren't us, listen to this and that and the other thing.
Yeah.
And eat shit.
Yeah, well, they'll get all of your references. Is really what's important.
Yeah, but it's not on Netflix, so I don't think I'm going to watch this one. I think I'm just going to listen to the show.
Yeah.
Or streaming device. Streaming poop.
Streaming poop.
God damn it.
Well, we've hit an hour.
We're okay. Let's wrap it up.
We should plug.
Do you want to plug anything, Matt?
I got nothing to plug. No, I'm just happy to be among great company. This is actually my first interaction with Chris. So
Even though
I felt like I know him.
You never told the.
Well, I was as I arrived, for the first time here at this wonderful dwelling. I was like, "Hey, Chris, we never really met before, but I feel like I know you." And I was like, "Well, I used to go over your house all the time because I was friends with obviously Steve and his brother John." And I was like, "But you never really showed up because everybody just used to tell me that you're in your room masturbating the whole time." And I was like, I never met him. All I knew was, where's your brother? Oh, he's in his room masturbating.
And I'm going to plead the fifth on that.
So that's a yes. Good night, everybody.
Adios. Last I checked, I found my first gray pube, and we're moving from there.
Cool.